How's it going? Welcome back to the Chandie Speaks podcast. It's your girl, Chandie. Do you hear the enthusiasm in my voice? The lack of enthusiasm, I should say, in my voice. Well, that's because it's hot as balls. I'm in Forsyth County, Georgia, in the deep south, and it's fucking hot. I've been sitting outside like all day after work. I got off work pretty early. We have a slow week this week. Don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with it myself. So, just pushing on through, I guess. Right now I'm eating an edible, right? I'm eating a wheat cookie. Let me tell you, I got a little high today. How's everyone doing? How was the week? I didn't get a little high. I got kind of a lot of high. I underestimated the edible that was given to me. They gave me a cookie and I asked for a second cookie, and then I went back later, felt a little giggly. I was like, let me take a half more. Then I really felt giggly. Super fucking high. And then, like about 30 minutes after that, I forgot how to do my job and the fucking munchies started kicking in and I needed to eat something. Crazy. Not really crazy. That's the effect of smoking weed. I don't have a podcast this week. I mean, I kind of do. It's just kind of all over the place right now. I've kind of had like an spiritually emotional week. It's been kind of draining. It's been hot as balls. So I made a whole bunch of notes and I was like super enthusiastic to like get through my notes and have a decent podcast this week, but it's kind of too hot for me to like focus. So I'm gonna just do my best. I'm gonna turn on my air conditioner after this, so let's see if I can just get a nice groove going. So I'd say the biggest thing that happened since last week, actually it happened the week before, but I got sidetracked and I didn't mention it last week. But since last week, I guess officially today, I've scheduled an appointment to go and get like a quote for my taillight that got ran into somewhere in Topeka, Kansas. Okay, if y'all wasn't following along already, the really quick story version of it was I was driving back from Colorado to Georgia, and I forgot how many miles in. It's probably like 100 miles east of the border of the Kansas and Colorado border. Maybe 150 miles east. Somewhere near Topeka, right? I'm parked. My car is off. The keys are out of the ignition. And some lady claimed that she didn't see me, which is the weirdest thing. I don't understand how people can't see my big ass van, but I was parked and her excuse was people don't normally park here, which is wild. Like, so if you weren't paying attention, just say that. Well, anyway, we exchanged information and I'm finally able, that happened in like June. That was like the week I was coming back from Colorado, like Juneteenth week, mid-June. We're like over a month later and I'm finally scheduled to go get an actual quote from the collision place so they can like run the money. The car is drivable. I've already invested like $10 in a new bulb. Hold on. Had to cough there. Okay, I've already invested like $10 into a new bulb, and I had to ask a friend from work to use his tools to like, who had like sockets, because I don't have any tools or anything, to like remove the cell where the tail light is. This lady like crashed into my tail light and shattered the glass, and it was very dangerous to drive back from Topeka all the way to Georgia without a tail light, and it was raining halfway, so I couldn't drive in bad weather. I couldn't drive at night. Kind of a pain in my ass. So, and right now it's just like I have a brand new bulb in there, and I have like duct tape or like packing tape just covering it to give some kind of weather protection. I know I could go and get some better tape for it, but really I'm not trying to spend money on something that I shouldn't have any business paying for. Really, they shouldn't reimburse me. But I went to the freaking the auto shop that I went to like a few weeks before I went to Colorado, because they've already worked on my van before. So I went and asked them for a quote. And I just kind of have a feeling that they've been overcharging people, because they're trying to say that it's $535 to replace one taillight cell, like the glass. I guess the part was like $230 and the labor was like $210, something like that. Like $535 to repair, which I think is crazy. I think these auto shops, they take advantage of little sweet ladies like me when I go in there. I'm like, what's an alternator? Oh, I just have no idea what's going on with this car. How do you even pop the hood? And they're like, yeah, let's just charge this bitch an arm and a leg. I went in there like, I don't even know how you fix the tail light. I've never had to fix a tail light. I've never really had to do like repairs on my car. Usually when I got into a car accident, they've totaled my car, or the car was still drivable and I just got some money from it and never repaired it. My last accident in my good God, definitely not a 20. It was a 1991 Ford Econoline. I got into a really bad accident. Wasn't my fault. And instead of repairing it, because it basically did nothing that affected the driving of the car, I took that $3,000 and I went to the Cayman Islands. Okay. I'm trying to basically do the same thing right now, because the tape, I can just get some better fucking tape, and really they can just slide me the money. I don't care if it's $500. I highly doubt that it's $500 to fix it. They were just overcharging me because they saw, an opportunity. By all means, get your money. But coincidentally, well, not so coincidentally, because I don't believe in coincidences, the place where I've taken my car before is not even in like the service area of like the people who are I guess eligible, or within the service area of the insurance company of State Farm. So they won't even be able to fix my car anyway. So I'm taking it somewhere else, and I have that appointment tomorrow, and that I just set up that appointment today. They were trying to quote me $153. Bro, that barely covers for the parts, at least from what I was quoted. And I even looked up online. I'm like, maybe I can just buy my own taillight cell thing and just use someone's socket wrenches and just fix it my fucking self. Minimum I saw online was like $180, almost $200 for just one side taillight. And State Farm was trying to give me $157 to take care of the whole thing. So yeah, I'm gonna go and just get my quote tomorrow. I don't care how you send me the money, but I'm gonna need that money. It'd be really great. An extra $200 to $500 would be super cush right now. Super cush. That's basically the biggest news that I have. I really don't like dealing with insurance companies. It's like I gotta put on this lawyer thing, and I gotta be able to have all my ducks in a row. And I'm like, they're asking me for pictures, and I'm like, that's the first thing I gave you guys. What do you think I've been doing for a month and a half? Just sitting here diddling my fucking thumbs? That's the first thing I sent them. Like, on my way back. Actually, I think I waited until I landed in Georgia, like a day after the actual incident, and I took pictures. I took pictures at the time of the incident, but I sent in those pictures like a day after, when I got back to Georgia, like right away. And they're telling me to take pictures of it, how it looks today. And I'm like, well, it doesn't look the same today than it did a month ago, because I've taped over it and I've already replaced the bulb that was broken. And maybe that's why they're quoting me so fucking low. So we'll see what this collision place says tomorrow. I'm going to Caliber Collision. I'll put them on blast just because I've seen them everywhere and they have really decent ratings. They were very responsive. They've been helpful and shit. So that's what I'm doing. Ass crack of dawn in the morning. Pain in my ass. I just need the money. That's really that's gonna fund my next trip. I'm still, believe it or not, I'm still trying to book a flight to Africa here in the next few months, maybe less than that. My personal deadline is 30 days from now, but realistically we're looking at 60 days. And that extra $200 to $500 would be really fucking nice. What else? That's basically it. Okay, that's a good intro story, right? Car accidents suck. It really fucking sucks. I'm also trying to get some fucking airflow in this van. I was actually talking to, I'm going to give a shout out. I'm not going to say their name, but a shout out to a van life homie who stays out in Colorado right now. Just getting into van life. Decent friend, cool guy. And it's just fun to see people who are just getting into van life, who are just where their priorities lie. You know what I mean? Like I've already talked about on this podcast about the honeymoon phase, and I've even asked questions in my Facebook groups about the honeymoon phase and how you explain that, and how you get through it, navigate through it. But there's also like the other part of the honeymoon phase where it's like you can see where their priorities lie, and a lot of these new van lifers, their priorities lie in like converting. I'm not throwing shade. I'm just sort of speaking on my observations, but converting their van. So, you know, their big thing is like getting solar panels or getting like, you know, flushing toilet or shower or just like the basic things. And they spend a lot of time and money, and it's time in thinking about it and planning on it. And generally they'll get it. More oftentimes than not, they'll get it done and then it'll all work out and then they have a fully converted van. There are some people who have that as their priority, and then like 6 months down the line, that honeymoon phase thing wears off and they're like, oh, fuck all this shit. I just put all this money, invested it in it, and all this time, and I don't even want to do it. My heart's not really in it, which happens sometimes. So yeah, I was talking to a fellow van life buddy, and he was talking about how he's converting, how he's just like waiting for solar panels, and how he got some solar panels, but they were the wrong kind, so he had to send them back, and now he has his friend who's going to help him set it up. And I'm just like, he's only been doing van life for less than 4 seasons. I've been doing van life consecutively in Georgia just in Georgia for 9 seasons. I've been here for 9 seasons in Georgia since 2023, and I still don't have an AC unit in here. I still don't have a way to where I can like power my van without running off of my main battery. And I've basically told myself this whole time that it hasn't been a priority, but now it's kind of, I'm trying to make it more of a priority. And I think I was just being a cheap ass. Let's just call it that. I was being a combination of being a cheap ass, not being motivated. A big part of it probably being a minimalist at heart for sure. I've been doing van life this time around, well, let's just say in total since 2016. So almost 10 years. Okay. And I've invested relatively to other van lifers, like nothing really. Like my biggest investment would probably be my $100 portable battery, my fucking 2-burner stove. It's a propane stove, double burner. Fucking yeah, I think I got a little mini solar panel thing that can like charge my phone. I've basically made, and this is all my vans across the board, I have not put in any kind of conversion investment. And I think I made a note about that because I had a little mini breakthrough. Hold on, let me look at my notes. Bear with me. I have to make notes in order to like do this shit. It's just a part of it. Yeah, I guess I didn't take notes on it, but yeah, basically it made me think like, have I been really, I've been like half-ass committing to van life by not like making it so that I can be a fully comfortable, and fully self-sustaining like situation. Even to charge my battery. Like I only have like a little $100 portable battery that charges my laptop and my phone camera and shit like that. I still have to take that into a physical building to charge it. It takes like maybe an hour to fully charge and it lasts for hours. However, I'm dependent upon someone else's power source. And that's just kind of weak sauce. I talk all this shit about being independent and being able to take care of myself, but I'm still dependent upon the system in a way by not having my own power source. And I really don't want to get solar panels on top of this bitch. Basically, if you're not into van life, you should, like, this is probably, you can just skip through. This is just me venting about my current situation, I would say, or just getting it out. And that's what I do, okay? I live in a van. So for most people won't understand this. But in case you were curious, this is basically some day-to-day struggles right now, is trying to figure out a decent power source that can take a lot of power and run for an extended period of time. I'm literally in the process of doing that. I found like fans. I'm trying to get like a vent fan. I'm trying to get a generator. And I'm flipping between like a little industrial fan and like an AC unit. It's just something where I don't have to have this car running all the damn time. and I can be self-sustaining, and I can just charge my fucking phone inside my van, and I can just walk into my van and not have my eyebrows burned off. I just want to not be smacked in the fucking face by this heat wave inside of this metal box that I've created as a living space for myself. Love it so much, but it's hot as balls, and I should be able to be comfortable in my own home, okay? I should be able to sit comfortably in my own home. Same thing with my dog, and not have to, like, sit outside with her all fucking, you know. And outside is colder than my van. So that's been what I've been doing. And, yeah, I'm trying to, I don't know, I guess just be motivated to do it. Because I'm like, well, I've survived this long, but it was hard. No, I wouldn't push the heat, and I wouldn't push this on my worst enemy, really. It's just, yeah, it's just annoying. Gives me, like, a gross fucking feeling. Okay, what else? I've been rambling for 15 minutes. Let's see, what else did I do this week? Cleaning up my van and getting organized, smelling good, rearranging the flow of energy. Okay, yeah, I tried to do that this week. I would say, mostly, you know, did okay. I tried to rearrange my van because I was just feeling like my energy sort of stuck in one place. I've been racking up my brain about this heat situation, this insurance thing, like all the things that's whirling around, and I just felt like I needed like a new flow of energy into my van. And I'll admit that there has been some positives within this I rearranged the furniture. You ever, you know, when you go home and you're like, man, I need to do something. And so like you change your sheets, your curtains, and you just like rearrange your whole fucking house. And now you have a different flow of energy. What do they call it? The 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙢𝙤𝙤 or something. You have a different flow of energy coming through. You're finding like the spots that are like the blind spots, the strong spots, the weak spots. And so, yeah, it did work out a little bit. There has been some positive, but mostly I've fucked it up. Basically, I gotta rearrange my shit. My shit was on the driver's side. Really, you think that I would learn how to pack a fucking van by now. I don't know how to pack a fucking van. I've just been lining it up on the driver's side and in the back, and then all on the left side where my side door is just open space. And now, since I've rearranged it, I have, like, way less open space. I moved everything to the passenger side, but there's this big-ass sliding door there, so there's only so much that can go on that side. So now I'm covering up, it's like a U. It's, like, just half of the driver's side, and then the other half of the passenger side, and then, like, the U in the back. So I have, like, less floor space. My floor plan is not an open floor plan like how it was before. And like I said, I was trying to shift the energy and move it and redirect it. And it feels like energetically that I've just sort of blocked myself into something. And it's kind of annoying. My bed is like the biggest thing. I was going from the front to the back. Now it's facing front to back, but I need to move it back to how it was before, which was from the left to the right, like long ways and not tall ways, if that makes any fucking sense, just so I can get some more of that floor space. I need to utilize the space better. So the positive thing that came from it is that I did notice that while I'm making right turns now, that my shit's not all falling over into the floor. Even if it's bungeed, sometimes it just falls over. And every time I make a right turn, because it was all on the driver's side. But now, there's nothing to fall over from that's like the only positive thing. So really, I just gotta get better at bungeeing down the shit and putting it back on the driver's side. I do feel like there's a slight different weight distribution as well. I don't know. I either need a new bed or I need to go back to my other fucking feng shui. Because the flow of energy in this van, on top of the heat, it's giving me very claustrophobic. It's giving me boxed in. It's giving me like not enough space to even think. And that matters. It matters everywhere you go, and especially in the fucking van. In the house, in the van, especially in a small space, it matters. So I gotta move some shit around. But I did get organized. I did, rearrange it, but I gotta rearrange it back. Just basically wasted time. That's all that was. What else do we got on my list? Going down the list here. My ADD or OCD won't let me do this podcast without having prompts for myself. Let's see. We can get into some deep shit. I had really good questions on Facebook this week. Really good questions. But I will get to that later. Couple having sex next to me. Oh my God. Yesterday, I think I saw a couple, like a melanated man and a non-melanated woman having sex in the car next to me. This was yesterday, last night in the Chipotle parking lot. If this was you, I saw you. I don't know. They were sitting there with the car on, okay? The lights on, not just the car on, the lights. The headlights were on. It was nighttime. It was like the sun was going down. This is over in, Beaufort County, Georgia, Sugar Hill, Georgia. And then I was like, they were parked there for a long time. And I looked through like the crack of my window shades, because I'm like basically crashing in this parking lot, for the night. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. So I'm going into like sleep mode. And I looked out my window and I noticed that car was just sitting there. It's been sitting there and the lights were on. And I looked closer and I didn't see a single person in the driver's seat. And I was like, I wonder why someone would leave their car running and the driver, there's no driver in the driver's seat. I'm like, maybe it's like a mom and like the kids are like just in the back waiting for the mom to get back with dinner or something like that. I don't know. I didn't see anyone in the driver's seat. And then I scaled over to the back and I thought I saw a person in the back. I didn't actually realize that there was two people in there having sex until like I looked a little bit longer, of course, but there was like movement, like abnormal movement for someone who was just in the back. It looked like at first glance that someone was just in the back seat, just trying to like find something in the cushions of the seat. So picture someone like facing the back seat, in the back seat, but facing like the trunk area. Well, it turns out they were fucking. It turns out, and I noticed that when I saw a non-melanated arm from the lady wrap around that person's neck. Because I could barely pull the guy out, It was dark. But when I saw her arm, I was like, oh my God, these people are having sex. And it's something like a crazy car accident. I just couldn't look away. But I didn't. I did not look away. I'm not going to lie. I did not look away. But then after a while, I was like, these could be kids. Because I don't know any adults that would just be that bold with it to the point where they're basically drawing attention to themselves. They have the car running and they're fucking in the back. No window shades up, no tinted windows. Like I see clearly into their car from behind my shades, my window coverings. Y'all are just being bold with it. You must have like that youthful fearlessness within you. I'm like, I'm gonna just stop watching. And then like, I would say 10 or 15 minutes after I initially noticed them is when I heard the car doors close and I saw both of them get out the back and he went into the driver's seat, she went into the passenger seat, and then they left. That's crazy. That's something you don't see every day. I would say that would probably take the cake for the craziest things that I've observed. I people watch a lot in this van. It's probably like number one, the craziest things that I've seen while doing van life. The next craziest thing, and I've seen a lot, but I remember I was sitting in Sedona one time in Arizona, and I was like parked at this trail, and I heard this like lady verbally abusing her dog. I think I most definitely made a Van Life Diaries episode about it. I should go find it because it kind of pissed me off. I don't remember, but I vaguely remember like hearing a lady verbally and maybe even physically abuse her dog while starting the trail. And I was sitting there like for 10 minutes. It was like a ridiculous amount. I was sitting there for a minute or so, and I was like, if I hear her cuss at this fucking dog again, I'm going to step out and be like, hey, I'm going to say something to her. But like, it kept on for like 5 or 10 minutes. And then right when I was like, okay, if she says one more thing, I'm going to step out. She like left. She went on her trail. They went on the fucking trail. So I think what I did after that was I made a video and then I went on a walk hoping to find her. But I think at the time I had my German Shepherd, my vicious little German Shepherd. So yeah, it probably wouldn't have been a good look for her to run into me while I was in that mindset with a angry fucking German Shepherd. She wasn't angry, but yeah, first glance, she'd kill you. She would kill you. That German Shepherd would eat an infant child accidentally. But yeah, I hear a lot of crazy shit, a lot of people watching this van. One time, I was sleeping in my van, dead of the night, and someone walked up. They were leaving the bar. Someone walked up, and I heard him say that he had to fart, and then I was like, what? Why is he talking so loud about flatulence so close to my van? And then before I could even put two and two together, I felt the vibration on my van from this motherfucker leaning up on my van and farting so fucking hard that it shook my home. It shook me up. I thought someone was trying to like break into my house. I was like, what the hell? It was unbelievable, but it was also hilarious. Like, I had to like, because I didn't want to embarrass them and like just shout, be like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? So I was holding back my laugh, but also like, what the hell, dude? See some crazy shit. But yeah, that's something that happened. These couple of young adults were fornicating in the back of a car. Four-door, I don't know what kind of car it was. They must have been young, because just the fearlessness, thinking that nothing bad will happen to you. Okay, that's most of it. We can keep going. I don't even think I really want to get into this. Let me think. I had this conversation, kinda. Really, I kind of want to do a disclaimer to this, because I've noticed that this podcast thing is kind of like helping me. It's most definitely helping me, get it out and stuff, but it's also helping me kind of develop like basic soft skills, like just a regular communication and conversation. So I'm just want to shed a little gratitude before I get into some deep shit. But yeah, shed a little gratitude. This podcast has been very therapeutic for me, and it's also helped me just communicate better with people. I'm more of like a soft, not really a soft-spoken, but I kind of keep to myself. I'm definitely not soft-spoken, but I'm very selective on who gets to hear me speak and dive in. So it rarely happens. This podcast sort of brings me a little bit out of my shell a little bit. So anyway, I was having this conversation, and by conversation, I mean, these new conversations, which apparently what I'm gathering is that what the kids or the young folk are doing, or the middle-aged folk, the millennials, whatever, let's say 22 to 42, what we're doing now is we are recording voice memos, like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, something short. We're recording voice memos, and we're sending those as text messages instead of actually texting or, gasp, physically calling somebody and talking on the phone with them. And it made me think, because I was having this back and forth like voice memo exchange with another van lifer. And it sort of made me feel like, okay, like, is this where we've come to? This is like the most intimate way of people being able to communicate now, is by recording themselves on voice memos and then sending it to someone. So that person has to like listen to them. It's an uninterrupted conversation, basically. They respond, when it's best for them. And like, that's basically where we are as a society in communicating to people. And it's just kind of weird to me. A lot of things have just been weird to me, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep up with it. I don't know, like, and it's like, I don't really have a choice in some circumstances. Like, okay, I'm going to digress, go on a tangent, but what's up with all these politicians, like, having social media accounts? That's something that was never heard of in the 90s or when I was growing up. You never heard of your governor or your senator or the president or anyone in, like, the political stratosphere, like, having a social media account. And now they're everywhere. Now, like, you can go and check what your senator tweeted, about such and such. And it's just so weird. And like, that's them adapting to the times. That's them adapting to, okay, this is how people communicate now. You're trying to appeal to a certain audience, and the certain audience likes to go on social media. So this is what we have. We have governors and presidents having Twitter accounts and like cussing people out on Twitter. And Facebook and TikTok and all these other fucking places. It's just so weird. And I'm like, I don't know if I can get behind that. I don't think I could even take any political person seriously if they have a Twitter account. And maybe I need to start doing that, or I'm going to be fucking getting some fucked up laws passed that I wasn't paying attention to. So, that's something. So, yeah, communicating is just like another one of those things. It's like, it started out with, you used to meet someone, then you exchange their numbers, and then you'd call them, and then that phone would ring at their house, and then they would either pick up, or you would have to leave a message, and then they either called you back, or they didn't. And then that went to, okay, now we have text messages, so you would maybe call them, maybe not, but you would let them know, hey, I want to talk through a text message, call me at this time or that, and they would either respond to that text message and call you back, or they wouldn't, or they would read it and never fucking call you, and now it's going into something else. Now we're needing more. We've dug ourselves into this hole. We used to be like very personable, and then we went to less personable with the text messages, and now we're just desperately trying to get back to that. And I don't know if it's like a desperate thing. I've just noticed that I have a few few people I have conversations with where it's like 90% voice memos. So, and then I've caught myself, okay, I'll respond with a text. I'm like, weirdo, why are you sending me a voice memo? But then I'm like, wait, it really feels good actually to receive a voice memo, even if they're just talking about some, hey, call me back type shit, because then you're actually listening to someone's voice, and it sounds so fucking crazy, but like, we don't really sit down, and at least for me in van life, it's a very lonely game, dog. It's lonely. It's probably my biggest struggle, even more than the heat, is trying to just find someone to talk to. And so I found myself having an exchange through voice memos with another van lifer, and it opened some shit up for me. That was a long-winded way of saying it opened some shit up for me. And it's like, I'm already doing that. I'm already making these voice memos. That's what this podcast is. This podcast is me having a 30-minute conversation with myself and then showing it to people. But man, how crazy would it be if I can receive voice memos from you guys to respond? It's just more personable. We're missing that. We're missing connecting with real people. So I'm yearning for it now. And within the last week, I'm like, wow, now I only want to have voice memo conversations because I'm like craving that like human interaction. I think everyone in this country, at least, most people in our society, we're just craving that human interaction. And not like just like your passing conversation, like your small talk, like the weather and the people at the grocery store, like real full-blown conversations that will take some, like, you can play it back and listen to it and respond. And so I'm just grateful for that. I'm kind of grateful for it, but at the same time, it's like, this is where we are. This is where we are. I kind of have to be okay with it. So yeah. And I noticed, like, while I was sending these voice memos, I'll get myself wrapped up into these, like, oh, it's starting to rain right now. Yes. The sound quality may be off because it's raining. But I've noticed that when I'll get into these voice memos, whether I'm talking to myself, or if I'm talking to you guys, or if I'm talking to another person having a conversation, I'll get into my long, deep rants, and I'll start like thinking deeply and poetically and philosophically, and then I'll say some really profound shit, some deep shit. I'm not saying that I'm like, sometimes if you listen to me ramble for long enough, I'll come across some genius shit, and then I'll like dismiss it or like underplay it a little bit by calling it cheesy or by calling it gushy, or overly sentimental. And wow, it's really raining. I'm gonna pause this for a second. Sheesh. It's coming down. I don't know. I'm just gonna get through it. It's really pouring down right now. But yeah, I've noticed that I've just been calling myself cheesy. Well, I actually didn't. I sort of subconsciously knew it, but it was actually pointed out to me by the person I was sharing the conversation with, telling me like, yo, every time you get into some deep rant or some emotional rant, you like shit on it and you say that it's overly cheesy. And I noticed that I actually do that a lot. And that I looked up, that actually comes from a trauma response. Apparently, someone somewhere down the line made me feel bad for being, quote, just too much. Okay, I had it in my head that just me being overly sentimental or emotional, I have to even actually change my wording with it. I don't even like saying overly sentimental, because if that's something that we as a society, we as people need more than anything right now, it's just a human being showing some real goddamn feelings, whether it's good or fucking bad. And standing in that, standing in it and saying it with your whole chest and not being ashamed of feeling or saying what the fuck you said. We need more people like that. We need more people like me. And I gotta stop. And that's just something I've noticed this week. One of my next goals to the next level, to the next plateau, is to cut that shit out. Okay, cut that shit out. And I've noticed that once I've been catching myself, when I start feeling, when I just start getting into my feels and I start like diving into myself, that in the back of my head there's like a little voice that's saying, man, that sounds gay as hell. But when I embrace that feeling, at least this past week, man, I had a really fucking good cry the other day. Really fucking good cry, because I just like felt my feelings and I allowed myself to really feel and sit in those feelings and not be ashamed of feeling that way. And I feel like I've upped my game a little bit. I feel like I'm feeling even deeper now. I feel like I can actually talk to actual people in real time, in the real world now, and not just over a voice memo or a text message or this fucking podcast. I can actually go out. Yeah, believe it or not, I'm talking. I actually struggle with talking to people most days, but I'm getting out of it, and I'm trying to pinpoint like the root of why I felt so ashamed in the first place. We need more people to speak and to speak deeply and to feel deeply. I know I'm a deep feeler, but I just like, I'm embarrassed. I've been embarrassed to show it to people. And it sounds like I've been kind of just like altering who I am to fit into other people, to make other people feel comfortable. And that's even saying it out loud, it just sounds like that's the opposite of who I want to appear, who I want to show up as in the world. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I do not want to die not being my full self just so someone else can feel good about themselves. Respectfully, that sounds like a you problem, and you're going to get me, or you're just going to leave me alone. Just leave me alone if you can't handle all this. I'm a lot. I know I am. We all are. We're human beings, goddammit. All this fucking energy, and we're just over years and fucking trauma and propaganda and all kinds of, brainwashing. We've just been told that we have to like, little ourselves and limit ourselves and cater to other people's. It's saying it out loud, it sounds like, what the fuck? Why have I been doing that? So yeah, I had myself a really good cry a few days ago when I like, wow, I do it with everything. I'm trying to find the little pieces that are, they're just that I'm holding myself back from experiencing fully. What else did I want to talk about? That was a good rant. This rain is kind of slowing down, kind of not. Planting, being embarrassed or being cheesy. I'm going to get to these Facebook questions. What microdosing? Oh, I took like a half a gram of mushrooms, like right after the podcast last week, actually, just for a head change. And I already made this note to myself, but here's a note to my future self. Okay, just take a whole gram next time. If you're going to microdose, my tolerance for microdosing has definitely changed since I've been microdosing. I microdose maybe like 1 to 2 times a month, and I took a half gram this time. And you know that saying, it's like, you can't take less, but you can always take more. I think it should go like, you can't take less, you can always take more, but don't be a pussy. Just take the whole thing. Just take the whole fucking thing. Like right now, I'm munching on half of an edible. Granted, I've already had 2.5 cookies. At this point, 3 cookies, so that's understandable. But there are people who's like, you haven't even had your first one yet, and it's like, you want to feel the trip, right? You want to feel the trip? Because think about it. If I take a half gram now because, I can take more later, then if I take more later, then I'm basically back. I'd have to take more. I'd have to take more to experience the actual come up, to experience the actual trip. because I've just wasted that first half just peaking. I'm like, oh, it wasn't quite enough. Now you got to take more. You should have just took it all the first time. So note to my future self, just take the whole gram next time. This time it was like barely a head change. It was a good head change. I actually believe that was the day when I had my really good cry. I'll even say that. That was my day when I really did some deep diving on why I feel embarrassed to just be deep and poetic and shit. And it was off a 0.5 gram of mushrooms. So yeah, note to self, just take the whole fucking thing. Don't be a pussy. Anyone, if you're microdosing, like obviously experienced microdosers, if it's your first time, I highly recommend like getting someone to to chaperone. But experienced microdosers, just take the whole fucking microdose. I did like a super microdose. Or maybe I just need to take a couple months off to get my tolerance back. I don't think it works that way though. I don't know, to get my tolerance back down to a 0.5 gram. It's like, do you really just want like a little slight head change, or do you want to actually dive into some shit? Maybe that's what it is. I'm just sort of slightly intimidated by what waits for me on the other side. And I just gotta stop fucking doing that. Worst that can happen is that you'll fucking die, right? Don't die. Please use responsibly. It's good. It's good for you. It's good for you. I'm going to get into these questions because we're getting into that territory right now. And I know that this was a really good discussion. Really good discussion. I don't have any questions that were given to me this week. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, 𝘨𝑑𝑒speaks@gmail.com. All my links are on my link tree. My link tree is GratefulLuna89. Or you can just leave a comment on this podcast on Spotify. Not on YouTube. It will be uploaded on YouTube eventually, but Spotify gets it first. And just leave a comment on this podcast. Email me. Follow my link tree. Y'all know the drill. So I asked 2 questions this week on Facebook. I was actually surprised at how much, how this post turned out, like performance-wise. Let me fucking find it. So the group, it's a public group. So I will be reading comments from this post, and I'll be reading just their first names, but it's a public post. You can go and find it. The name of the group is called Spiritual Singles and Spiritual Partners. It has almost 49,000, almost 50,000 members in it. Okay, I had to find it. This rain is crazy. So, yeah, it's Spiritual Singles and Spiritual Partners is the group. It's a public group. I did turn off the comments for this post because one guy in particular got reported by 3 different women, including myself, just for profanity and crude language and behavior. The question was, how do you feel about ethical non-monogamy? Bum, bum, bum. This post has over 252 comments. 252 comments, and I turned off the commenting yesterday. It was posted 6 days ago. It's a public post. I want to get into these comments. I actually already read through all of these comments, every single one, before I turned off the comments, before I was triggered by the guy who I reported. Bro, he asked me because I have a profile picture, and he's asked me if I have man chests or something like that. If I had $1 for every man who was made to look, he made himself look like an idiot on social media, and then his response to you making him look like an idiot in the most respectful way is saying that you look like a man, or coming at your physical appearances. If I had a fucking $1, I really wouldn't even need to work. So, yeah, you just got reported. But this was a hot topic for people in this group. And I think the reason why it's such a hot topic, and it's the irony of it all, is because this group has almost 50,000 members, and it's a spiritual group. It's a group with people who are proclaiming to be spiritual people, and they're looking for spiritual partners, okay? So I asked a question, which I think was relevant, applicable to the group. Well, how do you feel about ethical non-monogamy? And now in retrospect, I'm realizing that there was most definitely a meaning behind it after I looked at the responses to this question. I'm going to pause this for the fucking rain. I would pause it, but it's just like, oh my God, coming down. I feel like I'm yelling into the fucking mic right now. So yeah, it's just, the responses were very telling. This is a spiritual group, and it's always funny. This is why I don't really like engaging with a lot of these people who claim to be spiritual people, because a lot of them are fake prophets. A lot of them are people who claim to have all this divine wisdom and knowledge and spirituality, and yet when you ask them a simple question, they'll resort back to their programming that keeps them sort of like, like religious programming, their cultural, hypnotic, societal programming. They'll resort back to that when it's tested. And it's like, how spiritual are you if once you're tested, once your spirituality is tested, that you resort back to your old ways? Just my observation. Let's get into these questions, responses. It's over 252 comments. I'm not going to read all of them. I'm just going to read the highlights. And I reacted to all of them. I put the care reaction to just like the basic generic answers. I put the like reaction to good answers, but not great answers. And I put the love reaction to great answers, in my opinion. So I don't think I'm going to skip over a lot of these care reaction posts. But a lot of it, like these people, I cared also about the people who were clearly triggered by this question. Lufer writes, if anyone can get your, quote, love, then it's cheaper. And cheaper doesn't last long. Okay. You see a lot of people's, a lot of projections in this post. A lot of people have their own, traumas. And that's another thing that the spiritual community, I feel it's lacking. They need to have some kind of person who can hold people accountable for the shit that they're claiming. Because these spiritual people will claim to be all loving and all understanding, and then they'll say things like this that is very judgmental and very excluding people for being different than you, and it's coming from a space usually from someone that hurt them before, or some kind of bad experience that they had before. You'd be surprised at how many people are only spiritual now because they're trying to run away from a version of themselves that they're too afraid to address. That's not spirituality. That's not real spirituality. Spirituality is actually standing in that, facing yourself, being able to face yourself, the ugly parts, the dark parts, all the parts, and being able to transcend that in some way. Not masking it up with this new fake spiritual persona. I'm preachy right now over this. This post was a great post for a spiritual group. Peter writes, I can't do casual or multiple partners. Soul won't let me and won't exchange energy with just anyone these days. And I just gave a care reaction to it because that's your own prerogative. I don't even know where I would stand on it. I kind of just wanted to hear, I don't really know where I stand on it. I'm not trying to convince anyone either way. I asked a simple question, and I just wanted to see how both sides would respond, how the agreeers and the disagreeers respond from this spirituality lens that they made for themselves. This rain is messing up the quality of this podcast, but I'm not complaining because it feels nice and cool in my van. Let me read a couple more care reactions that I liked. Sounds like an oxymoron. Brian says, sounds like an oxymoron. Ethical non-monogamy. So what? Is he saying that in his eyes, monogamous is just inherently ethical? Or non-monogamy is inherently non-ethical? Is that what he's saying? My ethics and morals are connected to my heart and soul, not my junk. I will be 1,000% committed to only one and want the same back. That totally, to me, that screams trauma. Screams trauma. Because nowhere in this post did I ask anything about sexuality. People just take it there. And I've noticed that I've had this issue with myself in the past before understanding. But loving someone and being caring for someone and having sex with someone, they're not mutually exclusive. You can actually have a connection, a loving connection with someone and not have to have sex. So when someone hears ethical non-monogamy, in their head, they're thinking one person who gets to go and have sex with a whole bunch of people. Because most likely, that's how they show that they love. That's how they express their love with someone. They can't separate the two. That you can if someone tells me right now, just based off of that comment, that's how I perceive you right now. I perceive you as someone's like, you can't have a regular ass friendship with anyone because eventually you're going to want to have sex with them. And I guess biologically and naturally, playing devil's advocate here, I guess that's like the natural course of things, but it doesn't always have to be. It doesn't always have to be, and it takes a strong, disciplined, motivated individual to be able to separate that and be able to control their carnal desires. Control your carnal desires, boy. Yeah, he said his heart and his soul are connected, so they're not junk. Yeah, no one said anything about ethical non-monogamy. So I guess I should just give like from what I understand, like I'm not in the culture whatsoever, okay? I used to, very long time ago, identify as a polyamorous person, but I got out of that. I heavily do not identify with the polyamorous community right now in this day, right in this present moment. But from my understanding, and from what I actually know, ethical non-monogamy is sort of similar to polyamory. Sort of similar, okay? It's basically like you have multiple connections with people. They provide a different set of needs. You have one person who's like your partner for having deep conversations, and then you have your other partner who's your partner for going out and spending time out and on the town. Then you have your other partner who's like the person who you're sexually involved with. You have different needs. So essentially, it may sound like to someone who doesn't understand, it may sound selfish as fuck, but basically it's taking care of your needs. It's a combination of being able to take care of your needs and also understanding and accepting that everyone else has their needs that they need to be taken care of, and that you don't actually own anybody. You don't own this person's full being. You own the parts that they are comfortable with giving you. That's what you can receive from a person. I think, even though I don't claim to be ethically non-monogamous or polyamorous or anything, I do think that it's kind of selfish to sort of put all your eggs in one basket in that aspect. Like expecting someone to take care of your emotional needs, your physical needs, your spiritual needs, your financial needs, your fucking, all of your needs. I think it's kind of unrealistic, not selfish. It's mostly unrealistic. I think it's unrealistic. I'm not saying, is it possible? It may be possible. I've never experienced it, but hey, maybe it is possible. But ethical non-monogamy and polyamory, people tend to confuse with polygamy. And polygamy is way different. Polygamy is actually having multiple spouses. And the spouse, on paper in legal terms, means someone that you're like married to. Someone who's like your husband or your wife. Like, you don't see many women having multiple husbands. So usually it's for, geared towards men. I'm not saying it hasn't happened. I just don't see it. But a man that has multiple wives and they're like sister wives, that's polygamy. That doesn't require him to love you in any way. It doesn't require him to really care about you. It's just, as far as like from the man's point of view, if you're one of the sister wives, it doesn't require him to, you can actually be in a loveless marriage with a polygamist and have just multiple other sister wives who are also in that loveless fucking marriage. With polyamory, on the other hand, you don't actually have to be married to them at all. You don't even have to have a label on it. That could just be your Thursday friend. It's like a label-less kind of situation. Like, I would like to believe that it's more based on like a knowing, like a feeling, like not really trying to control that person or take ownership of that person, not really needing to take ownership of that person, just kind of knowing where you fall in their life, what role you fill in their life, and vice versa. And in some ways I can see how that's in some ways maybe more beautiful than being in a marriage with one person who is now just legally and spiritually obligated to fulfill all of your needs, and vice versa, you know? So, yeah, I think this guy who made that comment, Brian, sounds like an oxymoron. Well, not if you actually know the definition of monogamy, ethical non-monogamy, and, like, polygamy. It's less to do with sex. Another thing that polygamists like to do is, like, it's a breeding thing. It's more like a breeding thing. And polyamory, on the other hand, you know, most cases you're not trying to like reproduce with this person unless you have your, you know, there are some people who are married and they have an open marriage, you know, that would fall under ethical non-monogamy, even though they're married. But they have this understanding, like, okay, we're the family type, and then that's your non-family type over there. So yeah, I think a part of the reason why I posted this was to sort of see where people's understanding of the two came in while they're claiming to be spiritual, and looking for spiritual partners. Let's go to another one. I spent a lot of time. This has just been a hot topic for me this month because, yeah, I've just been going through it. Basically finding the value in my little relationships, not like any kind of exclusive labeled relationships, just like my friends and all the connections all over the world that I've made. My homegirl in Guyana, Rochelle, shout out to Rochelle. Like, I consider her like a life partner, even though I'm not gay, and even though I'm never going to marry her, I'm never going to be with her, we're never going to do that. But in a way, she's a part of my life tribe. She's someone who I'm going to be ride or die with. There's a bunch of other people, you know, spread out all over. And I'm like, it doesn't have to be defined, you know, and proximity doesn't really have anything to do with it. You know, it's just, or not really defined. It doesn't have to have a label on it. You know, it doesn't have to, it's just like you care about this person. You want to talk to them, talk to them. You want to be with them, go be with them. They either want to be with you or they don't. They either want to talk to you or they don't. Staying in the moment makes me really appreciate all of my conversations, all my connections with all my people, even in the smallest fucking ways. Just staying present in the moment, like not looking forward to what they'll be able to do for me down the line, or how I can, you know, make them like me. Just like be me and they be them. And if the energy flows, then the energy flows. And in a way, that kind of falls into that multiple partner category. I'm in, you know, but I'm not. I'm in no way identifying with it. I'm not sure what I'm identifying with right now. And you see that I didn't call myself cheesy or anything during that point. Got some growth going on here. Let's go, baby. Cheryl says, not for me. I'm going to just power through a lot of this stuff. Cheryl says, not for me. I want to connect with one person only. To each their own. Anouk, these are just my care reactions. I'll read my likes and my loves after a few more cares. Anouk wrote, I can't do it. For me, one person is already hard enough work. I'd like to go deep with one person. Yeah, sounds unrealistic, but hey, to each their own, you know. Another care reaction, I said, Sarah writes, I feel it's a distraction. True divine counterparts have one energetic partner. I don't understand. How could you know that? I don't know. How could you know that? So it's like, it's always these spiritual people, this spiritual woman named Sarah, saying things like that. That's just like contradictory of their, you know, whatever they're trying to play with their spirituality. Because even I know, even not being identifying with it, even I know that some of my closest friends, it's like, it's an energetic connect. All of them, it's an energetic connection. So you know it's possible that you can have more than one person that you care about. It's a different way. It's not someone you're having sex with. Obviously, it's different than like your mom versus like your boyfriend or something. But it's possible to connect in different ways to different people. That's all I'm saying. At the same time. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's impossible. It takes a lot of self-awareness. Let me see. And I don't know, maybe I'm going to be proven wrong. Like I said, I used to be in the community, the polyamorous community. It just wasn't really my thing. I'm not trying to put myself in that. It's not my fucking thing. Daniela writes, it's a cop-out for keeping spiritually clean. It means you are playing in 3D and only connecting with your root chakra to drain energy or deposit toxic energy. Someone in their heart space of 5D would not ask such a dumb question. Ooh, you lost me there, bro. You kind of lost me there. I'm so spiritual. I'm telling you what spirituality is. And if you ask this question that goes against what I just said, then it's a dumb question. Respectfully, if you're listening, fuck you. I'm on one today. Sorry, but come on. Do you hear yourself? Michael writes, I think we evolve more into polyamorous. From my own experience, two people struggle to provide all the needs. I'm also a very long-sighted person. I just care reacted to that. Okay, let me get to some that I actually liked. A lot of these people are just saying no. Sounds like an oxymoron. No skanks. Liz says monogamy is the only way for me. Yeah, and I was reading all the responses to these. A lot of people were calling people out. It's funny to see these group of spiritual warriors come out and fight for their cause. No one gives a shit, bro. But they're out there fighting for their fucking cause. People are like, oh, well, a spiritual person wouldn't call someone, wouldn't be so judgmental. And then it's like, you're being judgmental. Vibe check police piss me the fuck off. Like, someone actually wrote that. And that was like, I responded to only a couple, but that was one of them I remember. Like, this comment section didn't pass the vibe check. When a lot of people were just, there's a lot of people who just gave their 2 cents and didn't bash the other side. What about those people? The whole comment section didn't pass the vibe check. Who the fuck made you the vibe check police? You didn't pass the vibe check. You could have just kept scrolling and minded your own business. Vibe check police, like, just stop. Just fucking stop. That's like making a hate groups. Hey, do you hate groups? Let's cancel culture. Why don't you just mind your own fucking business? No one gives a shit. Let motherfuckers get canceled. Let motherfuckers hate on a fucking group. Let motherfuckers show their true colors and not pass a vibe check. Why do you have to be the person that just pass out these fucking vibe check tickets? Like someone gave you any fucking authority. I'm triggered. Ugh. Okay, here's one that I liked. Alina writes, it means a lot of you. It means a lot of part of you is missing and you are searching in others. When you heal yourself and your traumas, you can't draw your energy with a lot of partners. You can feel complete and choose one who will be at the same level and connect with him for higher purpose. This is my opinion. I don't know why I think that's like for me, I feel like there's some resonance, there's some partial truths. Because I do, in some ways, this is probably the side of me that disagrees with like that whole lifestyle. Also, with anyone who's just not gay or straight, like all these extras in between, bisexuality is just kind of weird, or pansexual. I don't get it. I don't get all the sexualities. It's like, do you like yourself or do you like the opposite of yourself? Why we gotta have all this extra shit? Now you're just getting weird and greedy. And maybe that's just me projecting. I identified as a bisexual for the longest fucking time. We're getting real here, folks. Okay? But I do believe that for me, personally, it felt like a part of me was believing that there was something in another person that would complete me. Like there was something already missing within my whole being as it is right now that I would find in another person. And I didn't care where the fuck it came from, right? And I think that's where like the bisexualness community or the polyamorous community, maybe that's where they don't look too good, because it's like, what, you can't just be with one person? Like, realistically, no, I don't think we're meant to be. But at the same time, I do believe that thinking that you're going to be completed with one or multiple partners is the answer. I don't think that's the answer at all. I think you have to find wholeness and completeness within yourself so that you wouldn't be dependent upon anyone to fulfill your needs. You'd just be fulfilling your own needs, right? In a perfect world, you'd be, granted, like, there's some needs we can't fulfill on our own, okay? There's only so many, I can't even think of a good dildo joke right now, but fill in the blanks, okay? There's some needs that we mostly can't fulfill on our own, men included, okay? But for the most part, we should be able to fulfill all of our needs all on our own as sovereign human beings, fully capable, especially in the freest country on the planet. Like, so yeah, I think sometimes it can seem like it's a cop-out for, like, avoiding yourself. Now you're just trying to find yourself in other people, and you realize that one person won't be able to do it all, so you try and find it in other people. I can see how that can be a slippery slope. Okay, so I kind of like that, but I didn't really agree with everything she said with, like, finding, I'm not sure, finding just one and only one. What's another one that I liked? This is a good fucking thread here. Send me your questions, please. I want to hear from you. What do you guys think about ethical non-monogamy? 𝙤𝙤speaks@gmail.com. All my links are on my link tree. All these I cared about. These are a lot of caring. I don't really like that many. I liked maybe 3 or 4. Let me see one. Connie writes, given evidence of centuries of time, Adam, Eve, their sons, King David, King Solomon, one of the wisest biblical leaders, at let's not forget Jesus and Mary, deep peer-reviewed research, and evidence of time since perceptions of men created religion and expected monogamy. Source, God, Creator, Spirit, however you resonate, said, go out and multiply. Can you fathom a society where monogamy was chosen and not required by religion? Interesting. Can I fathom a society where monogamy was chosen, I'm guessing naturally selected, and not pushed on us by religion? Interesting. Do you think we would do it? Do you think would we naturally just go to monogamy if religion wasn't forcing it out to go forth and multiply? Obviously, you need 2 people to multiply. Wow, this is blowing my shit wide open right now. Yeah. I don't know. I do not know. A lot of people like to use that as an excuse, like we're driven to multiply. But I'm like, are we driven to multiply? Or is that just something that has been told to us and pushed down our throats by some kind of cult? Some kind of agenda? That's crazy to think about. Interesting. Very interesting. I'm not sure. Yeah, we get menstrual cycles. We're all like men have the stuff, the seeds, and women have the eggs, and we're all set up to multiply. But are we naturally driven to multiply? Do I think men are more driven to multiply than women, given that they just want to fuck more than women? I don't know. I don't fucking know. I do not know. That was I think I cared reaction to that. I did care reaction to that. This is getting pretty long. It's going to be a long one today. Let me find one comment, because I do have another question in another group that I want to get to. One comment that I loved. Most of these people, it just didn't work for them. They were giving their 2 cents about it. I loved a comment by Corrine. Says, I believe people can make it work. Don't let anyone tell you that you are less than or non-spiritual for choosing this path. Which is really what I was getting. I was reading a lot of people just coming down on people who do it. Instead of just saying how they feel about it and why they feel a certain way about it, they're like coming down like on other people and telling them about themselves, trying to tell people about themselves. Another one that I loved was from Art. He says, spiritually, it beats unethical non-monogamy. Wait. Ethical non-monogamy. I said, how do you feel about ethical non-monogamy? He says, spiritually, it beats unethical non-monogamy. What's unethical non-monogamy? Oh, like cheating? Am I slow? Oh, God, I'm fucking slow. That's just like cheating. Spiritually, it beats unethical non-monogamy, which is often where monogamous relationships end. There he goes. Okay, that's why I loved it. And it removes artificial barriers to love. Okay, that I also agree with. I also believe there's just some kind of artificial barrier that comes with being in a monogamous relationship. That sort of, it falls away once when you start thinking about and the other mindset and the other way. Like I said, I'm not going for, there's pros and cons on both sides, but sometimes it feels like, yeah, you have less of these expectations, and you have more of like an understanding that, you know, this is the need that we're fulfilling for each other, and that's it. And we're able to actually be more open and honest with each other versus carrying all this extra baggage into these monogamous relationships. It's just a lot of pressure, man. A lot of fucking pressure. I think that's all the ones that I loved. I can't find, there's a lot of comments here. I'm just going to skim through a lot of them. If we need to call it ethical, Darcy writes, if we need to call it ethical non-monogamy, then we need to also call monogamy ethical. Seeing how it's frequently not ethical, we ought not assume it will be. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. It's like, it's kind of, yeah, saying ethical non-monogamy is just sort of implying that, well, is it, I think it's more implying that it's non-monogamy, but in an ethical way, not saying that monogamy is not ethical or non-ethical. Oh, tongue twisters. Yeah, this is a good one. Really good one. Send me your questions again. shandyspeaks@gmail.com. Leo says, to each its own, not for me though. Alex says, it's something I'm opening to more as my awakening progresses. I am moving towards not personally identifying with my emotions as I move into a state of non-duality. So the concept of jealousy and attachment takes a different light. I can perhaps see myself sharing love freely with more than one person and them doing the same thing without suffering from it. That was a good answer. I did a care reaction. This one I did a love reaction. Radiance writes, there are so many relationship constructs. Some are horribly hierarchical. Some are based on mutual trust. Some just on sex, which can be spiritual in its own way, which is completely valid. Monogamy is charged with religious connotations, and some find it an old idea. While I am mostly monogamous, polyamory is not out of the question in the right situation. You know what? I think that's valid. I think that's where I am right now. I think I would call myself like 80-20 right now, 80% monogamous. And I'm like, it's not out of the question, but I'm mostly monogamous, I would like to say. At least that's how I feel right now. 80-20. There, I said it. While I'm mostly monogamous, polyamory is not out of the question in the right situation. I think it's a perfectly valid relationship structure, especially if it's all based on consent, openness, and a deep communication. Channeling devotion for one person is a beautiful thing, and so is the capacity to be devoted to more than one partner. Love is limitless. Amen. Anyway, if it works for you, whichever kind of relationship construct and everyone is into it and safe, then more power to you. Beautiful answer. Loved it. Mostly resonates with me. I think I'm going to end it on that. Oh, another one that I loved from Derek. Derek says, it's funny, this is a spiritual group and everyone is still stuck in social constructs of can't serve two masters. This is programming. You gain attachment to your partner thinking you own that person. You don't. Having multiple partners can be done effectively by spiritually mature people. Understanding separation and oneness will help, but if you're stuck in social constructs, it's not going to work at all. Most people in here are religious, not spiritual. Religion is anathema to spiritual growth. Break out the constructs and be free. Well said. Very well said. And I'm not saying that it should work for everybody, but a lot of people, they're not speaking from a place of oneness or abundance. They're speaking from a place of limited and like taking ownership of people and like some kind of trauma, you know, and yeah. So it kind of invalidates their point, really, if you're saying, oh, people shouldn't do this, do that. Yeah, but you're not saying that because of it actually being true or not. You're saying it because someone hurt you. Someone hurt you. Why isn't this charging? My battery's going to die. All right. Do I have any others that I liked? This was a great post. Great post. There's a lot of care, mostly care. Cassandra says, it's bullshit. B writes, disrespectful. Jane writes, what's ethical about it? Yeah. I pray that everyone finds the healing that they need, including myself. Bernard writes, it's great code for banging everyone, anyone in real whoresome manner. Cool story, bro. I'm gonna read one more fucking comment and get the hell out of Dodge. Go to this next question. Todd writes, I've always been inspired by the book Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. The responses here are evidence of the fact that people have a hard time going beyond their cultural upbringing and conditioned morals and ethics. From an ideological perspective, I believe that it can be possible and can work given the right place and the right group of people. I don't think there are many examples of it that work. There is a place in Portugal, I believe. All right, cool. That was wonderful. I turned off the comments. Some dude went off on because he was corrected. Not even by me. I read the response from this one other girl, and she was like telling him the difference between polygamy and polyamory because he said polygamy, and then he was like coming at her about her kids or something. Or, I don't know. They always lash out at something, like their body, their fucking kids, or their, you know, they have like, and it's mostly men. I'm not saying women don't do it either, but it's mostly men who I see when they lose a debate or they're corrected publicly. Like, if you're gonna publicly comment, like you better do some fact checking before. This is 2025. The internet's a scary place if you're fucking dumb. Okay. He got reported 3 different fucking times. Let me read this other question. I posted this in a van life group, but it was a van life for women only. I'm in multiple van life groups, multiple communities on Facebook, but I find that if it's not exclusively for women, then women won't say anything. So I'm in this van life group for only women. It only has about 67, almost 70,000 members in it. And so only women, but a lot of them do anonymous. It's also a private group. Private groups, I won't be reading their names just to respect their privacy. A lot of these women commented anonymously. But I posted this basically around the same time, 6 days ago, right after I posted that last hot topic in the spiritual group. Whew, that's a hot topic. I may actually have to do a part 2 on that, on ethical non-monogamy. I'll have to do some diving in. I might have to do a part 2 on that because that was just too hot. But the question I asked in the van life group, women only van life group, has about 100 comments, 98 comments. And the question was, how do you handle episodes of loneliness? We were talking about this earlier, remember? I'd say that's like my biggest problem. I think I'm going to do a poll in one of these van life groups, in a bigger van life group, and see what people say. My top 3 biggest struggles in van life, loneliness takes the fucking cake, okay? Loneliness, it has to be up there. It's not crazy. Like I've totally learned a lot about being able to stand alone and being able to be alone and be comfortable and happy with just me, myself. And that took a whole fucking lot of work just like to just get myself to that fucking point. And I still have these little lulls where I'm like, God damn, there's no one to talk. There's nobody here. It's just me. I literally can't even talk about it with someone who sees me do it every day. Like, you know, people who are physically seeing me do the van life. Because you don't really know until you know. That's like my top fucking struggle. And like coming in close, not too close, would be having to move with the seasons. That's the second and I don't even really have a third one. Maybe very minimum problem. Biggest problem with van life is just finding somewhere to park at night. That's probably my 3 biggest struggles right now. Loneliness, definitely up there by a long shot. I can deal with the heat. You can't really make someone understand you. You know what I'm saying? So I asked women in this van life group, how do you handle episodes of loneliness? Almost 100 comments. I didn't actually get a chance to read all these, so I'm going to read some of them for I guess as long until I, feel like I don't want to anymore. I know this podcast is long, but that was the goal. The goal was to make this an hour-long podcast, and I think we did it, y'all. Send me your questions. I love to hear from you. Let's get deep. These are all going to be anonymous, but this one lady writes, hold on, let me get to all the comments we use. This one lady writes, what activities do you like? Maybe head to a more populated area. Even small towns often have live music or other fun activities on Facebook events or posted in their local community groups. Take a class, head to a library or community center. Okay, those are all like external things and things that may cost money. Taking a class. Who's got money for a fucking class? Head to the library, that's free. Community center, cool. Facebook is probably free, but going to live music, it seems like I'm looking for like more of a natural remedy, not more of like an external kind of. But thanks for that answer. This other lady writes, do something you enjoy. No fucking shit. Come on, you guys, dig deeper. This one lady writes, Jesus. We had to have one lady do it. This next lady writes, I just pulled 2 chairs out of my van, sit. Before you know it, someone walks up and we sit and talk and laugh and tell stories. And a lot of times we just pray. That's beautiful, actually. That's fucking beautiful. That's probably the way to do it. That's probably the fucking way to do it as a van lifer. Just prop your fucking chair out with your door open, and eventually someone will come and talk to you. Or notice you sitting there. Trying to do more of that. Trying to get propped up outside my van, play some music. I've been hula hooping a lot. I've been getting back into hula hooping. My inner child is just like, go fucking swing the hula hoop at the lake. Like 4 days in a row now. And that's been making me feel good. Not making me, staying in the present, making me feel good about myself, but also sort of putting myself out into the world in a situation where someone could possibly walk up to me and converse and talk to me. Not super out of my character. Big steps for me this week. That was a big step for me this week. Didn't even mention it. All matter-of-factly. Loneliness is fucking no joke. Let's get down this list here. This one woman writes, the same way I do at home, call a friend, do a crossword puzzle, read a good book, or take myself out for lunch or dinner at a counter so I talk to the person sitting next to me. See, I'm not like that. I'm not that person. I'm the person where if I go out to eat, whether I'm sitting at the bar or I'm sitting at a whole table by myself, I'm that girl that has headphones on and I'm watching stand-up on my phone while I'm waiting for my fucking food, and having my drink. I'm not trying to, talk to people. It has to be something really fucking, out of the fucking ordinary. Like, if you came in with a snazzy fucking jacket, I would take off my headphones and be like, yo, that's a nice fucking jacket. But if you're just Joe Schmo, sitting at the bar, I'm Joe Schmo sitting at the bar too. So let's just keep it minimal. I'm not a small talker. So because of that, I rarely really go out by myself. I know I have to do some kind of small talk to the bartender and to some people if they, hear my name or something. But yeah, I don't really go out because I'm not really into that. Some people are. I like big talk. I don't like small talk. Okay, this one woman writes, I keep 3 consistent rituals. Number 1, I write in my journal daily. Number 2, that's a good one. Number 2, I compliment 3 people each day, in person or online. That's a great one. I compliment 3 people each day in person or online. Because when you think about it, what you appreciate appreciates. What you put out there is exactly what you're getting back, even more. 3, I park myself with a group of other nomads or hang out at a popular day use site and chat with other travelers. See, that's difficult for me. I'm in the area where it's like, I gotta go hunting for these motherfuckers, and they're hanging out at Walmart, okay? And I wouldn't know because I don't go to Walmart. I'm not trying to park around the riffraff, you know? I like the natural flow of things, and it seems to me like I'm the only nomad that I know. When people run into me and they just so happen to be nomad, I'm like, that's a rarity, you know? It's usually people that find me through all my social media outlets or whatever, and they just happen to be a nomad. Those are my friends. If I have nomad friends, they're usually not around me. So that's not easy for people. I don't really have a community, a nomad community out here. Most places I go. She says, I'm an artist and will bring out my paints and doodle. It always starts conversation. That's something that I have done before, and that actually works really well. Thank you for that reminder, ma'am. Yeah, get back into things that I like to do outside of my van. And people usually talk to you. This is a good post, really sentimental shit here. In a good way. This one lady writes, admit that humanity was never supposed to function in the way man has organized society, that the intense loneliness is a byproduct of something out of my control, and go look at something pretty in nature. Now that is beautiful. That's that was beautifully put. Very beautifully put. This one lady writes, physically move the body outside in the fresh air. Physical activity changes the chemicals in your brain. If you can't walk, swim. If you cannot swim, go for a drive with the AC off and the windows down. While I understand that you may not have a choice with these episodes, when these episodes happen, however, you absolutely have a choice in how to address them. Decide to do something to change your thought process, your physical state, your location, your perspective. Just know to surrender to these feelings is the worst choice to make, and not choosing is a choice. Not choosing. I think what she meant to say, you have to surrender, or not surrendering. Just knowing not surrendering to these feelings is the worst choice. I don't know. I guess people look at the word surrender in different ways. I know what she means. Like, don't let it take you. Don't take you under. Don't let it, don't succumb to this pain. But rather, when I think of surrender, I'm just like, allow yourself to flow through it. Going through it is getting through it. You have to go through this pain. You have to feel it, but not in a way to where you aren't able to sort of redirect that energy or redirect yourself and pull yourself back out. Because you have to sort of get there to understand why you're there. Right? I don't know. I'm high as hell. These are great comments. This one lady writes, keep your heart open and believe the right people will be with you at the right time. It's not about for me, I'm not thinking about something outside of like external, like, because we're going to feel it. So people feel lonely with other people. There are many people who are married. Hell, many polyamorous fucking people who are still fucking lonely. So it's not a matter about how many people or you have around you. I think it's something deeper within yourself. And I think that other girl was pretty much on the ball right there when she was saying that physical activity changes the chemicals in your brain. Yeah, the hula hooping this week has definitely helped me just stay afloat, for damn sure. I look forward to hula hooping every day because I look forward to being outside of this hot ass fucking van and out of my fucking brain. Okay. And just, and not putting myself not putting myself to in that place where I just suffer for no fucking reason. I don't have to suffer. I don't have to fucking suffer. I don't have to fight. Life. I don't think life should be a fight. Love shouldn't be a fight. If I love myself, it shouldn't be a fight. This one lady writes, I'm gonna wrap this up soon. We're getting really close. Honestly, I just tell myself tomorrow I'll feel different and keeping on. New morning is always better waking up by yourself if your last marriage was like mine. Bless her heart. This one lady says, listen to podcasts on subjects that interest you, like the Chandie Speaks podcast. And on that note, we're going to end it because we're going into really long territory right now. But appreciate everyone for making it this far, helping me work through my shit, listening to me rant about stuff that you may or may not agree with. Just, yeah. Send me your questions or not. Just, yeah. I'm high as hell and I'm tired of fucking talking. But I did a good one. Did a good one this time. I'll see you guys next week. Peace.